The Detroit Lions have just become the center of a massive NFL stir. Not only did the team win another game, but they also saw one of their young stars break historic records, while the front office is making moves behind the scenes in search of a trade that could completely transform the franchise's future. Jahmyr Gibbs is simply playing at a different level. The running back had an incredible performance in the 24-9 victory over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and what he did on the field left even the most seasoned analysts speechless. He had 136 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns, and 82 receiving yards. But that's not all. Gibbs became the first player in Lions history to surpass 135 rushing yards and 80 receiving yards in the same game, a feat so rare it's only happened 33 times in NFL history. Before we tell you what's happening behind the scenes with the team and why this could change everything in Detroit, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, because what's coming next promises to rock the NFL world. And Gibbs' spectacle didn't stop there. In a simply explosive 78-yard run, he reached an insane 22.23 miles per hour, the fastest of any running back in Week 7 and the third fastest of the entire NFL season so far. This mark puts Gibbs at the top of the league's fastest players, trailing only Jonathan Taylor of the Indianapolis Colts, who reached 22.38 miles per hour. For perspective, Gibbs had already clocked 22.34 miles per hour on another 42-yard run against the Chicago Bears in Week 2, which shows that this speed isn't luck, it's pure talent and elite explosiveness. The NFL recognized Gibbs' monstrous performance, earning him the Angry Run of the Week honor on NFL Network's Good Morning Football. The play that earned him the title was a run where he simply refused to go down, battling defenders on a decisive 4th down. The crowd went wild, and the reaction on social media showed that Gibbs is no longer just a prospect, he's a reality, solidifying himself as one of the league's most electrifying players. But while Gibbs shines, the Lions front office is quietly working behind the scenes, and what's being discussed could take the team even further. NFL sources confirm that Detroit is eyeing a major defensive reinforcement, and his name is one of the most talked about among fans, Seattle Seahawks cornerback Riq Woolen. The player may be available for trade, and according to ESPN insiders Jeremy Fowler and Matt Bowen, the Lions are one of the leading candidates to attempt a trade before the November 4th trade deadline. The information is stirring up buzz around the scene because Woolen isn't just any player. He was a Pro Bowler as a rookie in 2022 with 6 interceptions and 16 pass deflections, plus a pick 6 that established his name among the league's top defensive talents. What's most curious is that despite his undeniable talent, Woolen has been going through a period of ups and downs in Seattle, and this, for Detroit, could be the perfect opening. The coach who drafted him is no longer with the Seahawks. The player is in the final year of his contract and could test the market next offseason. In other words, the scenario is ideal for a trade, and Detroit emerges as the most logical destination, especially because the Lions' defensive scheme is one of the most man-to-man coverage heavy, precisely where Woolen excels. As Fowler stated, Woolen would be better off playing on a team that leverages his man-to-man skills, and that's exactly what the Lions are doing. So imagine this combination, a defense bolstered by Woolen and an offense led by an unstoppable Gibbs, alongside Jared Goff, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and one of the league's best offensive lines. This would elevate Detroit to another level, a true Super Bowl contender. And if you think this is just speculation, know that Fowler and Bowen give a 50-50 chance of Woolen being traded by November 4th, and the Lions are among the 4 most active teams in this race. Now, I want to hear your opinion. Do you think the Lions should go all in on Riq Woolen, even if it costs high draft picks? Or should the team stick with the current roster and focus on the recovery of injured secondary players? Leave your opinion here in the comments, and if you believe this is the Detroit Lions year, be sure to like and share this video.
The Detroit Lions just received an update that completely changes the team's plans for the rest of the season, and no one saw it coming. One of the team's top trade targets, who was being eyed by management to bolster the pass rush before the deadline, has just left the market. That's right. A name that had been considered a priority by Brad Holmes will no longer be available, and this could alter the Lions' entire strategy in the coming weeks. This news makes it clear that the race for an elite pass rusher is getting tighter. Before I tell you who this player is and what he means for the Lions' future, like the video and subscribe to the channel, because here you'll stay up to date with everything that happens. The Lions can now literally cross a big name off their wish list. New York Jets' Jermaine Johnson. The defender, who was seen as a top trade target to bolster Detroit's defensive line, surprised everyone with a post that practically puts an end to the speculation. In a symbolic and provocative gesture, Johnson posted an iconic GIF from The Wolf of Wall Street, featuring Leonardo DiCaprio's quote, "I'm not leaving." The post came shortly after ESPN listed him among the 25 most sought-after players for the trade deadline, which made fans and analysts understand Johnson has no interest in leaving New York. This means the pass rusher, just 26, is expected to remain with the Jets, even with the team suffering a disastrous 0-7 season and no playoff prospects. This decision took everyone by surprise, especially since the scenario indicated that the Jets might part with valuable players to begin a rebuild. However, Johnson's stance shows the opposite. He wants to stay and fight where he is, even though the team is at rock bottom. For the Detroit Lions, this is a frustrating turn of events. General Manager Brad Holmes had been monitoring the market and, according to The Athletic's Diana Russini, had already approached several teams looking for pass rush depth. The idea was clear: to further bolster an already strong defense ready for the final push toward the Super Bowl. But now, with Jermaine Johnson off the radar, plans need to change quickly. And the problem is the time is running out. The NFL trade deadline is November 4th, and with each passing day, the options dwindle. The market is increasingly competitive, with more buyers than sellers, making any negotiation even more difficult. Names like Jalen Phillips of the Miami Dolphins and Arden Key of the Tennessee Titans are beginning to emerge as possible alternative targets, but nothing is guaranteed. The big prize of the market, star Trey Hendrickson of the Cincinnati Bengals, remains a distant dream. The Bengals have shown no interest in parting ways with the player, and the price to get him out of there would be extremely high. Even so, there's one important detail that can't be ignored. The Lions are far from panicking. The defense has been showing consistency, with Aiden Hutchinson playing at Defensive Player of the Year level and Al-Quadin Mohammed emerging as a positive surprise, contributing constant pressure and creating turnovers in crucial moments. Holmes and Dan Campbell know a reinforcement would be welcome, but they also understand that the current roster is strong enough to compete at the top of the conference. The team must evaluate carefully before making any rash moves. Now, the big question is, should the Detroit Lions continue pursuing a veteran pass rusher or trust the current roster to keep pace until the playoffs? This decision could determine the team's fate in January. And I want to hear your opinion. Do you think the Lions need to make a major trade before the deadline, or is it better to keep the current group and bank on the chemistry the team has been building? Comment below, because the discussion is heating up among fans. And of course, if you want to keep getting hot updates like this, like and subscribe to the channel, because there's a lot of explosive news coming up involving the Detroit Lions.